Yeah. Yikes. That's all I got to say. Caitlin Clark fans showing no mercy whatsoever, right? It is funny. There's a comment we're going to look at as we're going through the comments saying, oh, here comes all the troll poet.
Indiana Fever fans have officially turned on Stephanie White, and the numbers now reveal a massive multi-million-dollar crisis brewing inside the franchise. What started as frustration online has exploded into a full-scale fan rebellion, completely dismantling the Fever's carefully crafted public relations strategy. This is no longer just about angry comments or isolated criticism. The backlash is organized, informed, and impossible to ignore. As opening day approaches, panic is beginning to build inside the front office because Fever Nation is rejecting the old establishment in a way the WNBA has never seen before. For months, league insiders and media voices tried to dismiss critics as casual fans who don't understand basketball, pushing the narrative that any criticism of Stephanie White came from internet trolls or hot take podcasters. But the reality is far more dangerous for the organization. Fever fans are deeply invested. They study the game, analyze offensive spacing, understand pick-and-roll mechanics, and they refuse to accept a system that pushes a generational talent like Caitlin Clark off the ball and into the corner. The clearest proof came during the opening night roster reveal, where hidden engagement metrics exposed a complete collapse of fan trust in the coaching direction. Instead of rallying behind the organization's messaging, the fan base hijacked the narrative entirely, turning what was supposed to be a promotional moment into a public disaster for the Fever's marketing department.
It is ugly. Let's look at this. Our opening night roster is set. This just dropped. Kelsey Mitchell, Hines Allen, Raven Johnson, Aaliyah Boston, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Demarius Dantas, Justine Passat, Michaela Timpson, Caitlin Clark, Monique Billings, Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, and Ty Harris. That is your opening night 2026 roster. Right there. Championship season.
The official 2026 Indiana Fever opening night roster has finally been revealed, giving fans their first full look at the team heading into the new season. The roster includes Kelsey Mitchell, Maisha Hines Allen, Raven Johnson, Aaliyah Boston, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Demarius Dantas, Justine Passat, Michaela Timpson, Caitlin Clark, Monique Billings, Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, and Tyasha Harris, along with the team's developmental player. On paper, this group looks built for modern basketball. Fast pace, floor spacing, transition offense, and heavy three-point shooting. Everything about this roster suggests the Fever want to play with speed and maximize offensive firepower around Caitlin Clark's playmaking ability. But while fans were focused on the roster itself, the Fever social media team quietly revealed something even bigger. Instead of posting a single team graphic, they rolled out individual player posts for every member of the roster, complete with jersey numbers and hype graphics for the upcoming season. What seemed like a simple promotional strategy quickly turned into an accidental exposure of who truly drives attention and engagement for this franchise. The numbers attached to those posts gave fans a raw, unfiltered look at the actual popularity hierarchy inside the organization, and the gap was impossible to ignore. The Fever front office may want to present a balanced, team-first narrative where every player shares equal spotlight, but the fans are making their opinions clear through clicks, views, and engagement. Caitlin Clark's roster post exploded to nearly 378,000 views, completely separating itself from the rest of the team. Then fans started comparing the other numbers and noticed some interesting details. Justine Passat's post reached around 65,000 views, which surprisingly put her very close to Lexi Hull's 73,000 views. That alone caught people's attention because it showed that newer or lesser-known players were still generating meaningful fan interest. But the real takeaway was the overwhelming difference between Clark and everyone else on the roster. The engagement numbers exposed a reality the organization can no longer hide. Caitlin Clark is not just another player on this team. She is the engine driving the Fever's visibility, attention, and overall business momentum, and the fans made that crystal clear the moment those posts went live.
Some insight into popularity. a couple of things really caught my attention. Let's go here. Caitlin Clark, 378,000 views on this post, okay? I scrolled down. Number one, Justine Passat, 65,000. I mean, that's pretty interesting because Lexi Hull's got 73. Justine's right on her tail, right? But this was what was really interesting. Sophie Cunningham, 357,000 views on the number 8 post right here. It's clear Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham are I believe, we all know Caitlin is the...
Sophie Cunningham's roster post pulled an astonishing 357,000 views, and that number completely changes the conversation around the Indiana Fever and the modern WNBA audience. Think about the scale of that for a second. Caitlin Clark's post sat at roughly 378,000 views, meaning Sophie Cunningham was right behind her at 357,000, practically matching the biggest star in women's basketball step for step. That alone reveals a massive shift in what today's WNBA fans are responding to. Mainstream sports audiences know exactly who Sophie Cunningham is, and they're drawn to her energy, confidence, toughness, and fearless attitude. Fans love that she embraces a villain role, plays with emotion, shoots without hesitation, and never backs down from confrontation. She has become the kind of personality modern sports culture gravitates toward. Entertaining, intense, emotional, and unapologetically authentic. Then fans looked at another number that completely stunned people across social media. Kelsey Mitchell, one of the most talented scorers in the league, a respected veteran, a foundational piece of the Indiana Fever franchise, and a player who recently secured a major Supermax extension, generated only around 31,000 views on her roster post. Again, this is not criticism of Kelsey Mitchell as a player, because her basketball talent is undeniable. But from a marketing and engagement standpoint, the contrast is impossible to ignore. Sophie Cunningham's 357,000 compared to Mitchell's 31,000 is not just a small difference. It is a gigantic gap that exposes exactly what today's fan base values. These numbers are sending a message the Fever front office likely never wanted made public. The audience is no longer emotionally attached to traditional WNBA hierarchy built around tenure and legacy status alone. Fans are gravitating toward personalities, intensity, entertainment, and players who amplify the excitement surrounding Caitlin Clark's style of basketball. They want emotion, confidence, trash talk, energy, and fast-paced offensive firepower. They are rewarding the players who make the game feel electric and emotionally charged, while rejecting anything they view as slowing down or resisting this new era of WNBA popularity. And that growing divide between the old establishment and the new audience is exactly what set the stage for the next disaster: the complete digital backlash surrounding the USA Basketball post.
Views on the number 8 post right here. It's clear Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham are I believe, we all know Caitlin is the most popular player. I think Sophie is top, really and truly top, probably 3 or 4. As far as actual popular, there's a lot more actual regular sports fans that know who the hell.
The Indiana Fever fan base is no longer quietly accepting the organization's messaging. They are actively connecting the dots and challenging the front office in real time. Many supporters believe the franchise has lost touch with what the audience actually wants, and frustration has become impossible to hide. One fan even pointed directly to declining ticket interest and accused the organization of misleading the public, arguing that fans are tired of confusing messaging and questionable decisions surrounding the team's direction. The intensity behind these reactions comes from the fact that fans have not forgotten the events of last season. They remember the uncertainty surrounding player injuries, the confusing lineup rotations, and the ongoing debates about how Caitlin Clark should be utilized within the offense. A major source of frustration continues to center around Clark's role on the court. Many fans believe the Fever should fully embrace her strengths as a primary ball handler and elite playmaker, while critics of the coaching staff argue that the offense too often pulls her away from the action. Some supporters were especially irritated by media discussions suggesting the team functioned better when Clark was playing off the ball, a concept many fans strongly rejected. To them, taking the ball out of the hands of one of the most dynamic passers and offensive creators in basketball feels completely backwards. As a result, social media has become flooded with debates over offensive philosophy, pace, spacing, and whether the coaching staff is maximizing the roster built around Clark's skill set. At the same time, many fans feel the broader WNBA establishment has responded dismissively to these concerns. Independent creators, podcasters, and basketball analysts online are often blamed for amplifying negativity, while passionate fans argue they are simply voicing legitimate basketball criticism that mainstream coverage avoids discussing. The divide has created an atmosphere where supporters increasingly trust independent analysis, film breakdowns, ticket market trends, and online discussion more than traditional league messaging. Fans are paying close attention to every detail, from offensive schemes to resale ticket prices, and they no longer want polished PR campaigns or promotional content to replace honest conversations about the product on the floor. For many supporters, this is about more than wins and losses. They believe the Fever are sitting on a historic opportunity with Caitlin Clark, and that mishandling this moment could damage the franchise's momentum. That is why emotions have become so intense heading into the season opener. Expectations are enormous. Scrutiny is everywhere, and every coaching decision will be analyzed in real time by a fan base that feels more engaged, informed, and vocal than ever before. As opening night approaches, the pressure surrounding the Indiana Fever organization is reaching a level that feels almost impossible to ignore.
Ooh-wee. I mean, the comments on this, yikes. Puke emojis. Stop promoting this awful coach if it doesn't make us like her anymore. How about stop trying to force us to glaze her? She destroyed the Vanderbilt program. Factual. That's factual. This one just kills me. The cesspool.
The Indiana Fever public relations team believed they were creating a positive moment when they posted a congratulatory graphic celebrating Stephanie White's selection as an assistant coach for USA basketball in the upcoming World Cup. From the organization's perspective, it looked like the perfect opportunity to highlight her coaching resume, reinforce credibility, and generate support ahead of a new season. They expected fans to applaud the accomplishment and rally behind their head coach. Instead, the reaction spiraled into a complete disaster. Rather than celebrating the announcement, large portions of the fan base flooded the comments with frustration, criticism, and outright rejection of the message. What was supposed to be a polished PR moment quickly turned into a public showcase of how divided Fever fans have become over Stephanie White's leadership. Many of the responses were not just emotional reactions from casual viewers. They reflected deeper basketball concerns from highly engaged fans who have clearly followed White's coaching history closely. Some commenters referenced her previous tenure at Vanderbilt, arguing that the program struggled under her leadership and expressing fear that the same issues could carry over to Indiana. Others questioned her offensive philosophy and whether Caitlin Clark would truly be utilized in a system designed around her strengths. A major theme throughout the backlash centered on concerns that Clark could be pushed off the ball too often, limiting the aggressive, fast-paced style that made her one of the most exciting players in basketball. Fans repeatedly voiced the belief that the Fever should fully embrace Clark's playmaking and offensive freedom rather than forcing her into a more restricted system. The comment section quickly became filled with frustration about the overall direction of the franchise. Some fans openly stated they did not believe the team could succeed under White, while others argued that the organization was trying too hard to manufacture support through social media rather than addressing concerns being raised on the court. The intensity of the reactions revealed just how emotionally invested Fever fans have become in the team's future and in Caitlin Clark's development specifically. To many supporters, Clark represents a transformative era for franchise and potentially the entire WNBA, which is why they react so strongly to anything they believe could limit her impact or slow the momentum surrounding the team. By the time the backlash settled, the congratulatory post had transformed from a routine announcement into another major flashpoint in the growing tension between the Fever's front office, coaching staff, and an increasingly vocal fan base.